Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Busted Wide Open. That's right, we are here live. I am Sir Ian Dangerous.
And I am Brooke Winters, formerly known as JB.
Oh my goodness, it's a very different show today, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, it is episode number 361. Normally, you would find me opposite of Mr. Nick Howell. However, today we are joined by the lovely Miss Brooke Winters, as she said, formerly known as JB. Brooke, would you actually reintroduce yourself to our audience for those who don't know you? And for those who do know you, explain why we're now calling you Brooke.
Sure. Well, y'all, I have been around with BWO from the days of yore. I am a former professional wrestler trained here in the good old Los Angeles. Have always loved the sport, the entertainment, and the BWO show. And as for my name change, it's both personal and professional. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. And I finally filled out all the paperwork and got her done.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank
I know
you.
It was a long time coming for you. But we are here to talk about the professional wrestling. Obviously, a big week of professional wrestling. Raw just happened last night with a major title change. We've got to discuss that and all the ramifications and fallout and reasons why that might have happened. And of course, after the show, we will be going live with our mailbag episode, also to be guest hosted by Miss Brooke Winters. So stick around for that after the show. We're going to take a little break and then come right back for that. But don't go anywhere. We do have a whole show to go right now. We do want to recommend that you guys head over to linktree.com/BWO. That is, of course, where you can find all your links to all your BWO needs. Anything that you might want to do, from our Facebook discussion group to our Patreon, which you can also find at patreon.com/BWO. Our Discord group, you can find where, if you're not watching us live and you want to watch us on Twitch or on YouTube or on Facebook, that's all at linktree.com/BWO. But that being said, that's a lot of business out of the way. Miss Brooke, thank you for joining us. I think it's time. Let's not dawdle any longer, and let's head over and discuss what went down last night on Monday Night Raw. Now, I think people who weren't on social media might have missed it. But Big E has been saying since last week, he mentioned it briefly on SmackDown, but he's been saying on social media he's going to come to Raw and cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Brooke. I thought this might be a swerve for a minute, but no, we opened the show and Big E comes out with the briefcase on Monday Night Raw. He's there, and he gets in the ring and confronts Randy Orton and Bobby Lashley at the same time with MVP.
Don't forget Matt Riddle. You're just leaving him out there?
RK Bro and Montavious Varnell Porter were all there. Yes, MVP was there too. All the sidekicks. It was a whole kerfuffle in the ring.
Matt Riddle pleading, please don't cash in on my best bro, Randy Orton. That would not be cool.
And to which MVP replies, "Man, such a dumbass up." Which was great, but once that was out of the way, we were down to Randy and Lashley, who did have a match on the night. Randy saying, "I'm going to beat you." Lashley saying, "You can't beat me. I'm the damn champ. I'm going to beat your weak ass." And that's going to be that. And Big E standing there the entire time saying, "Big Meta going to slap some meat tonight.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to cash in." And that was the theme of the show, was Big E looming and saying, no matter who wins, I'm going to cash in.
I don't know if you can call it looming when someone does it so gleefully.
He has been kind of gleeful with that briefcase, hasn't he?
Yeah. He was like skirting on the edges, like, hee, I'm going to cash in. It was delightful.
Licking the briefcase, kissing the briefcase all night long. And like coming in on Randy and Riddle. Riddle's mouthing in Randy's ear, and Randy had to put headphones on to make him shut up. And Big E's just there kissing the briefcase. Yeah, all night long. It was the threat of Big E. I'm going to take this moment, by the way, Brooke, to thank you for removing your sunglasses. This is my gimmick. Okay, no gimmick infringement on my show.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It was an ode.
Thank you.
To Sir Ian Dangerous's gimmick.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much.
You're welcome.
Very grateful. No, I am very welcome. Thank you. So later on in the show, of course, we do have Lashley versus RKO versus Randy, Kenneth Kennedy, Kennelback, Orton.
Kardashian Orton.
Kardashian Orton. He doesn't dress in all black, though. He doesn't cover himself from head to toe in all black. Sorry, it's a Met Gala joke. Oh. Met Gala joke. It's very moving. I thought you would get that. You're a fashion lady.
Dangerous for once, more up on a fashion thing than I am.
I have seen for your
Met Gala outfits, but I have not seen the Kardashians' Met Gala outfits yet.
I apparently prepped too much for your appearance on this show.
I guess you did.
I apparently did. A reference that no one got. Moving on. Randy Orton versus Bobby Lashley later on the show. Fantastic match. A match 13 years in the making. They did a great job of building it all up. Some great false finishes, but ultimately RKO is hit on Bobby Lashley. He rolls close to the ropes and is pulled to safety by MVP. Everything breaks down. MVP eats an RKO on the outside. Riddle mocks him. Randy gets back in, only to eat, at this point, a second spear. He'd kicked out of one already. And he doesn't kick out of this one. Randy Orton loses to Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley takes him outside, puts him through a table, but tweaks his knee in the process and gets back in, only for Big E's music to hit. And out comes Big E to cash in. A man of his word. He did say he was coming. And he cashes in, and after a very short match with a couple of very near finishes, Big E hits the big ending, and that is the ending of Bobby Lashley's title reign. Big E is your new WWE champion.
Woo!
Only the third African American ever to hold the title. It's a big deal for a lot of reasons, more than that we'll talk about. But the first thing I want to discuss is how it felt. Brooke, how did you feel when you saw Big E win the title here?
Oh, it felt glorious.
Glorious.
Yeah. I love a man who follows through with his word. He told us he was going to do something all night long, and then he came through and he actually did it. He actually won. If he had lost, it would have felt like crap, because it's like, oh, well, can't trust the word of Big E. They're not putting stock into his, like, it kills the faith. But because it was,
because he called it out.
Yeah.
He said he was going to do. That's actually something I wanted to talk about. Was there's an aspect of this where it happens so quickly, right? He's had the briefcase for however long, and he just suddenly decided, I'm going to cash in right now. But he did call it out all weekend. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to challenge the winner. And a whole show, he said, I'm going to challenge the winner. Now, he did it in his own inimitable Big E way, giggling and, being a goofball, as you said. But it doesn't take away from the seriousness of his claim. I'm going to cash in, and I'm going to win. And he did just that. When he won, one of the things that Nick and I talked about was when faces win the Money in the Bank briefcase, they call it out beforehand, and they have a match. When heels win it, they sneak in an opportune moment.
Yeah.
And Big E kind of did both. He called it out. He said he was going to do it, but he still waited until Bobby Lashley was vulnerable and did it. Do you feel that it was a face enough move, or was that kind of a dick heel cowardly move?
It absolutely was not a cowardly move, because Bobby Lashley was injured from being a jerk himself. Okay, he did not have to attack Randy and Matt Riddle after the match was already over and he had already won. He chose to attack after the bell. So you know what? You get whatever comes to you then. Like, you could have been in perfect fighting condition. Big E said he was going to come out and cash in. Bobby Lashley chose to take the risk to keep fighting and injure himself. So no, it wasn't a jerk move at all in the Big E.
Lashley didn't really have a choice. And again, Randy was saying, like, I'm messing you up because I moved the match up until now from when it was supposed to be at Extreme Rules. And Lashley didn't have a choice. He had to have that match. And then when you're cashed in on, like, he had to fight. I mean, yes.
He did not have to throw Randy Orton through a table after the match and hurt himself. That's what I'm saying. He had no choice in the match. I'm not talking about. He did not injure himself until he put Randy through a table after the match.
Sure. That's a dick move. He's a heel.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like he was still trapped.
He was injured.
He was still trapped. And again,
he was not trapped at that point.
Well, no, not until Big E came out and cashed in on him. But again, I think what your point is that ultimately Lashley is such a dick heel that no matter what Big E does, we're happy that Big E cashes in on him. And also it's because Big E, not only in kayfabe as a character, but outside of the ring as a human being, is such a great guy. Like such a notably great guy. People love Big E and are open about expressing how much they love him. The outpouring of love and support on Twitter from every promotion, everyone who's ever worked with the guy, has been so overwhelming. And in addition, you know, he's such a great guy to follow because of his journey, his own personal journey, and how, like the struggles he's overcome. I'm not sure if you actually saw the recent New Day podcast that he was on there, Brooke, but the one he was talking about his mental health. And anyone who hasn't watched it, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's shocking.
It's very surprising.
What all this guy has gone through from a mental health standpoint, like far beyond what I think a lot of people would assume, you know, beyond like just not being able to get out of bed in the morning. Like he's actually had, at one point he was diagnosed as having a major depressive disorder with psychotic features. He was institutionalized. He underwent convulsive therapy.
Yeah.
And then
I think it's important to know voluntarily.
Voluntarily, yes. Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. He did all of it voluntarily as a way to try to figure out how to get better, because in his own words, he said, my brain was betraying me. And I knew this wasn't me, but at the same time I had to overcome it. And he had this really frank discussion about it, all, you know, because of the recent passing of Daphne is why they had that show. But to see a guy like that who's willing to take his platform and open up the discussion to be about mental health issues, and a guy who's had his own extremely dark times, it makes you really happy to see a guy like that in this position, getting this this accolade, this opportunity. And so that no matter what he does in kayfabe, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, it could have been booked better, but it's still so happy for the guy. Yeah. Do you feel the same way?
Totally. I support Big E. He warms my heart so much just as a character and as a person. And I love that moment, you know, earlier in the show when he was with Xavier and Kofi, and he was like, do you have any advice for me? Like, you guys have been here. What do you think? And they're just like, you got this, Big E. Like,
yeah, no, we don't need to give you advice. Yeah. You have all the tools. Just go do it.
And I think we all, as an audience, or at least most of us, feel the same way. I'm just happy to see him happy.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is you knew it was a big deal for him. I saw him get tweeted at about Brody, like Brody would have loved this. And he said the first thing I thought about was I wish he was here to hug me when I come back through the curtain.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's a really strong emotional moment there too. But unfortunately, as much as I want to kind of dwell on the feel-good aspects of this, there's also the other aspect we have to talk about, and that's the business aspect of this. Okay. And that is that this, you know, again, Randy versus Lashley was supposed to happen at Extreme Rules. Mm-hmm. The plan for Big E to cash in, it's not hot-shotting. They were going to have Big E cash in on Lashley and win. However, the plan was to do it at or immediately after the draft, which we now know, thanks to this week's episode, is happening October 1st and 4th on for WWE, which is an interesting timing. They're doing it on Raw and then right before SmackDown. So it's weird. But that was when they were going to do it. So 2 or 3 weeks from now. And of course, in the current state of the world of wrestling, all the different promotions, there's the immediate thought of why would they hot shot it? Why would they make it happen now? Why would they try to goose the ratings, especially when this comes immediately a week after they lost to AEW in the demo ratings? The Raw was less than AEW Dynamite in the demo ratings. Everyone immediately jumped on the idea of, did WWE hot shot this? Did they make it happen sooner and try to create excitement? Because they are now taking AEW seriously as either a threat
Right.
or they want to get themselves back in the market. Did you feel like this was earned, or did you feel like it happened too quickly and might have been a hot shot?
Well, I think it's like Buddha says in the chat here. It was a defensive move. And I don't know that I feel like it was too early. I still feel like it was earned for Big E. But yeah, clearly they're trying to shake things up and get more eyes and be like, look at our champion now. Everybody come watch. You love this guy.
Yeah, definitely felt that. And I mean, they're not wrong. I think it's the right decision. If you're in that position, you're feeling that way. And Buddha does say it was because of Monday Night Football. And that's a good point. Raw's ratings were garbage against week 1 of Monday Night Football. They averaged 1,670,000 viewers on average, and that's the fewest they've had since July 12th. Their demo ratings, the 18 to 49 demo, was a 0.43. It's 556,000. Well, that's the lowest since the 5th of July. So they obviously knew they had to goose ratings. Was it reactive to AEW? Hard to say. It could have been multiple reasons. They obviously needed to because they got crushed by Monday Night. By the way, one of the best Monday Night Football games that I can remember, with my Raiders overcoming the Ravens in overtime in a thriller, but I digress. Sorry.
Well, all righty then. I'm glad your Raiders won.
Sorry, Miss Brooke. Your Colts are not looking great this season. Had to throw that out there.
Don't get me started. Anyway, okay, so back to wrestling. How about this draft?
This draft.
What do you think about this draft?
The draft. I mean, so that's kind of the question is the draft affecting their thoughts on the booking? Like, we can kind of do whatever we want because nothing matters because we're going to shake it all up in 3 weeks. Like, did you feel that was an element of it? Well, it doesn't matter if we make Big E the champ now because we're just going to be shuffling stuff around and kind of nothing's going to really matter.
Well, I feel like that's WWE's constant mindset. So it's like
screw it.
Nothing really matters. We'll just change it and do whatever we want in 3 weeks. So, I mean, that's my perspective on it anyway.
But
I don't think the draft hurts that.
But it might be more so now when they're sitting there and, they don't know who's going where until the day of. Like, it's been openly admitted that they literally will do the draft on the day, which is insane.
I think they're just
never cease to be insane.
Names out of hats.
They might, for the last few, they might just be. And that is the most insane thing to me. You're a $1 billion company and you're going to leave that many things to the whims of chance and not plan.
They leave so much to chance.
And that's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Well, do you have any speculation about like who might be going where? Like, if you had to say, I think it'd be best if they put this person here, this person there. Like, any thoughts on that? Or are you just like, screw it, throw the chips in the air and see where they fall?
They've got to shake up the tag divisions, I think. I think there's got to be a major crossover of the tag divisions. Lots of tag teams changing hands. I wouldn't mind if they flipped the mid-card titles. If Damien Priest went to SmackDown and Nakamura and Boogs went to Raw, I think might be a good call.
I want to take it back for 1 second to the tag teams. Do you think they're going to split any tag teams?
That's a great question. Damn, I don't. Off the top of my head, I don't think so. There's none that I can think of that are ripe to be split up, unless you can think of one. I mean, you got New Day, you've got AJ and Omos, who I think they could split them up and make Omos a contender.
I think they're going to split at least one, but I'm not sure who it's going to be.
Yeah, Lucha House Party, they're not going to split. Viking Raiders, they won't split. Usos, obviously, they won't split. Mysterios, they might split the Mysterios. Yeah, they might split brands on the Mysterios. Just to not have to deal with the father-son angle anymore.
Yeah.
But I can't think of many others that they would split up. Retribution.
My bet is one will split.
Yeah. I don't think you're wrong.
Mid-card championships, flip them.
Yeah. What about Drew McIntyre? Do you think he goes to SmackDown? He's not doing nothing on Raw.
True. I mean, do you think they'd put him with Roman? Again, like, what else are you going to do with him If not, put him against Roman.
That's what I'm thinking is maybe if he goes to SmackDown and kind of just hangs out for a little bit, if Roman makes it through this gauntlet that he's in right now, he's got the Demon, he's got the Beast, he's got Edge and Seth both gunning for him. I mean, maybe you don't put Drew over there because you already have, like we were saying a couple months ago, there's no one to face Roman because he's just beating everyone too much.
Roman and Drew tag team. You heard it here first.
Roman and Drew tag team?
And that's how he gets through the gauntlet.
Oh God, I thought Nick booking was something. Brooke booking is happening right now. Drew and Roman. Who the hell has been? Roman's cousins are the tag team champions. Are they going to face them for the tag team championship? He's like, sorry, cuz.
Maybe.
I want all the titles now. Can you imagine? That'd be like the new mega powers. It'd be like Hogan and Macho Man again. Drew and Roman as a tag team. That's terrifying.
Well, there you go.
Terrifying.
I booked it. Brooke booked it.
a Brooke book. Oh my goodness.
2 men with glorious locks.
Well
that
said.
would be the name of the tag team. Glorious Locks.
Glorious Locks.
Glorious Locks.
All man. Glorious Locks. Manly men. They're manly men. Those are some A+ masculine
meaty men.
Alpha males. Those are some meaty men. Meaty men. All right. But we digress.
We do.
You're too busy thinking about Drew. I see you over there. We know your history with Mr. McIntyre. All right. So just to wrap up the draft, is there anyone that you saw on Raw last night? Let's make it specific. Is there anyone you saw on Raw last night that you were like, you are just a fish out of water? You got nothing to do. We're not even talking about people in catering, like the people running around the 24/7 division like Ricochet and Humberto Carrillo. I'm talking about people that were on Raw having matches last night. Anyone you saw, you're like, please, God, get them off this show.
Well, I could say, but then that doesn't necessarily mean I want them on the other show.
The glasses are back.
like Tamina. But do I want her on SmackDown? Not really.
Well, technically, she and Natalya are cross-brand right now because they're the tag champs.
Right.
So they're already kind of both brands. I'm thinking like someone like a Shayna Baszler. Like maybe we split up. Like there's a tag team that could split up, Nia and Shayna.
Yeah.
They're having a match next week. They're going to fight each other after what happened on the show.
We all know that's not going to last long anyway.
They've been teasing them breaking up for going on 6 to 8 months now. And the best thing you could do is get them away from each other.
That long?
It's been that long. They've been pushing this feud back and pushing this feud back. And they've been bickering. They were bickering when they went into this tag team.
See, I think what happens is whenever I see them, like afterwards, my brain just immediately just releases it. So it's hard to fathom that it's been going on for that long because my brain is like, no, we're not holding on to that. Just let that go.
Let it die.
Just let it die.
I'm hoping they do, frankly. I'm hoping next week that they do let it die. And oh my. Yeah. And they don't do any more with Shayna and Nia. We have next week, we blow it out, and that's it.
Yeah. I'm with that.
Let's move on from all of that, the draft talk, the main event picture. Let's talk about some of the rest of the show and go to a place that I know you've been wanting to talk about ever since we started the show today.
Is that my girl, Charlotte Flair?
Charlotte Flair.
We gonna talk about my girl,
Charlotte Flair. The queen herself. She had a match this week against Shayna Baszler, who we were just discussing. Because last week we had a match against Nia. Shayna caused a distraction in that match, caused Nia to lose the match. So this week, of course, we had to do that. The opposite. Once again, Charlotte saying, oh, Shayna's not on my level. She has to drop the dead weight, meaning Nia, if she wants to get on my level. Goes out, and with the help of Nia distracting Shayna, she beats Shayna Baszler. And then afterwards gets confronted by Alexa Bliss, who gives her a creepy doll that looks just like her. Charlie, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Matching robe and everything, championship belt.
Disturbing, like
so is the skull teeth and the weird hair. Gives her the after a little bit where Charlotte was like, I'm not taking a present from you. Okay, I'm just kidding. I love presents. Never mind. I do love presents.
She checked to see if it was a bomb first.
She did. She wasn't
not ticking. Okay.
Nice touch. Alexa Bliss saying, Charlotte, you really need to let your hair down. And Charlotte goes, it is down.
My hair is down.
She gets this stupid doll and goes, I don't want your stupid doll. I'm going to kick your ass, Extreme Rules, and throws the doll at Alexa, who then pounces Charlotte, jumps her, beats her up around the ring.
He says, I'm going to adult you into Extreme Rules.
I'm going to adult you in Extreme Rules. Yeah, because you're still a child because you're playing with dolls. Stop playing with dolls. I'm feeling Charlotte on that.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte's not into the dolls. I'm feeling that. So she and Alexa get into a tussle, as they say. After saying that Alexa's going to end up in a padded cell with her dolls. They get into a tussle. Charlotte goes to the outside of the ring. When she tries to get back in, Alexa gives her what I can only describe as a Yoshi tonic. Nice little flip, and Charlotte gets tossed out of the ring again. Alexa stands tall after this. Charlotte is interviewed later backstage, and the Charlie doll is just sitting on a box near her, and she goes, this is going in the trash, just like Alexa Bliss at Extreme Rules. What do you, an acknowledged massive Charlotte Flair fan, think about, first of all, Charlotte acting? I mean, they're doing something with Charlotte, which is interesting, which is they're having a nuanced character where she's always the queen. She's always a narcissistic, cocky character. And she admitted that in her promo with Alexa. But people will cheer her in matches. And so against Shayna, she worked face. And she was working the crowd for cheers and whatnot. And then she's a face against Alexa Bliss, apparently. But she's also still a cocky heel. She was very recently a heel that beat what should have been a top babyface in Nikki ASH at SummerSlam. What do you think about how they're presenting Charlotte right now? Do you think that they're doing it the right way? Or is it an awkward way that the audience can't quite get their heads around?
Well, first, I'd actually rather talk about Alexa.
Okay, talk about Alexa.
All right, this is my problem with Alexa. That has always been my problem with Alexa. That move that she put on Charlotte had to do all the work for.
Yes.
Like, physically, in wrestling, there's weight sharing, weight balance. And sometimes the people who actually take the moves are the ones who are actually doing the move to make it look like the other person is doing it to them.
Absolutely.
With all of Alexa's moves, the other person has to do the work.
Because she's 5 feet tall and like 80 pounds.
In what world am I supposed to believe that Alexa Bliss's weight is going to flip Charlotte Flair over that fast and with that much power? No world. In no world do I believe it. I know kayfabe. I know wrestling. I've done all this stuff. And I'm telling you, I'm looking at it going, that is stupid. I don't believe in any way, shape, or form that Alexa freaking Bliss is going to flip Charlotte Flair over with that much momentum.
So what you're saying is you're not a fan of Canadian destroyers. Not.
Okay, and my other problem.
But real quick, wouldn't you agree though that, like, because it did stall, like they started up the move, Alexa got into position, and then she did do the little like hands out to try to show that she was getting momentum on the move. Do you feel like she did her best
the momentum of a fly?
I mean,
was that supposed to do it?
So what you're saying is you were not a fan of Rey Mysterio back in the day when he was beating guys like Randy Orton with moves that would not.
Mysterio makes it work.
Okay, so you're saying it's Alexa's fault.
Flies through the air and looks like a freaking magician, and I believe anything that he does because the way that he does it.
Okay.
Alexa Bliss does not have enough oomph to make anything believable to me.
So what you're saying is it was actually how they pulled the move off here that didn't work for you, not the move in essence of itself.
No, it's the move. It's Alexa doing the move. And also, I'm not a fan of Alexa's little girl gimmick because it just makes me so uncomfortable because it feels like pedophilia, because everyone knows that Alexa Bliss is incredibly attractive and sexy and like all the guys are always drooling over her. She's an incredibly beautiful woman.
Yes. So you think that her current gimmick is
weird?
You think it's too much pedophile signaling with her current character, the little girl thing?
Yes. it makes me uncomfortable every time I see her.
Do you think that it's something to do with her performance of it? Like, is there something that she could do differently with the performance
No.
while still having kind of like the crazy chick character, but not?
I think it's the fact that she is just inherently an incredibly sexy and beautiful woman.
Okay.
So there's no way she could play it that putting her in a little girl costume is going to feel okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
Do you so gothing it up a little bit and making her like kind of creepy undead chick doesn't
she's wearing
take
like
anything
a
away from
little
it?
girl skirt and she's carrying a doll. No.
And she hangs out in a child's playground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She pouts. No.
Right.
It is weird and uncomfortable to me, and Anna agrees in the chat.
That's good to know, because it's funny when I see it, I don't see sexualization there. I definitely do see like little girl stuff there, but I don't see the sexualization. But maybe it's just because Alexa herself, as you say, is a very attractive woman.
It's not that she is doing anything in her gimmick to sexualize the gimmick. It's that she has already been so sexualized, and then to put her in a gimmick like that.
Got it.
Yeah.
So the pre-existing sexualization of Alexa Bliss, and then you put that character into a little girl costume.
That's just all kinds of weird to me.
So is there any saving the Alexa Bliss character right now, as it is right now? Like, could they somehow turn the corner on this if they made her act more mature or whatever? Or is it just everything about it you're selling?
Yeah.
No, like I'm saying, like, take her out of the playground, just make her like, kind of more of a crazy wrestler, but make her less little girl-ish.
Yeah, like if they put her in like pants or something, and like stop putting her in little girl outfits and stopped having her carry around a doll and be on playgrounds. Like if you just made her a weird, like spooky goth chick, sure.
So like make her more like Rosemary.
Aspect of being a child out of it.
Make her like a Rosemary or Daphne, where she's just kind of a more like disturbing character, but she's still not a child.
Yeah.
A weird kid.
Former Nikki Cross, how she was before. I know the gimmicks are. I know the gimmicks are different, but yeah, you don't.
I see that. Yeah,
it's the childization that is just very weird to me, especially knowing like I read the comments on the internet. I know what the men are saying about her. Okay, so it's knowing that the people are saying these things about her while she's dressed like a little girl that is just very weird to me.
Yeah, that it's not just something that you're seeing; it's being seen, and people are reacting to it. Yeah. Well, then let's talk about Charlotte. If Charlotte now has a feud with her, what do you think about Charlotte having a feud with Alexa? Is Alexa a worthy competitor to Charlotte, or would you rather? Okay, so you think that just kill the gimmick, get it away from my girl Charlotte?
Yeah, she's got to fight somebody right now. Sure, it's Alexa Bliss. It's fun to have the little like, okay, you're a little girl and I'm a grown woman. Like they can bicker about that, but like I don't believe in any way, shape, or form that Alexa Bliss can put any like realistic move on Charlotte that is going to make Charlotte suffer. I
mean, isn't that the struggle of any time you have wrestlers of two different sizes? I mean, WWE has always been a place where the big boys play, as they say. And now in the case of Charlotte, she is a larger woman. She's tall, muscular, and you're going to have people of different sizes. Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross,
I'm sorry. I just want to interrupt and say something real quick.
Yeah.
I don't want to limit Alexa because of her size. Like, I am so happy that the wrestling industry is now welcoming people of all sizes. That is amazing, and I am all for it. However, you do have to make things like realistic, and part of that is on the performer to add that extra oomph into their moves, and accounting for each other's sizes when you're wrestling. Like Charlotte's fault for putting too much oomph on her flip, like.
Or maybe that's not a move that Alexa should be putting on Charlotte, kind of thing. It's not working for you. There needs to be other ways Alexa finds to overcome Charlotte. That being said, part of the kayfabe of Alexa is that she is super strong for her size, right? Like she's got these other powers. Maybe that's what they're trying to go for, and it just didn't sell. So it didn't work for you. But we'll see. They're going to have a Match Extreme Rules, so we're going to see how they make Alexa and Charlotte work. Charlotte has worked with Nikki and made it work, but Nikki, of course, had to work as an underdog.
Yeah.
And how are you going to make Alexa underdog when she has these powers? So they've kind of booked themselves into a corner there. I do tend to agree.
Agreed.
All right, so let's move. We talked about Shayna and Nia earlier, so we can just move, I suppose, right on to the rest of Raw. Damien Priest, your U.S. champion,
Yes.
open challenging people, gets an open challenge from Jeff Hardy.
I love watching Jeff Hardy come out.
He does have a really fun entrance now, especially now that he has his old song back. He's got his makeup was particularly on point.
I think people just get so happy to see him. Like, he's a classic. He's a standard. Even Damien Priest, I know, had a little smile just watching the crowd interact with Jeff Hardy.
I love that Damien Priest is such a fan of wrestling that everyone he faces who's like been in the business for more than 5 years, he nerds out over.
He's so happy for them. Like, you can just see it on his face. He's like, yeah, I get to wrestle Jeff Hardy.
I get to wrestle Jeff. I wish we had Damien Priest here. Unfortunately, with Nick out, our line to Damien Priest is unfortunately cut off as well.
Yeah, they tend to travel together, those two.
They do. And unfortunately, the only way I can really do this is I get to face Jeff Hardy. The closest I can do to a Damien Priest.
Pretty close.
And it was adorable. And then they went and had a great match. There was actually one sequence in this match that maybe you can talk on more as a former wrestler, but there was a sequence where they kept dodging each other's moves and basically showing that they had prepared for each other. You know, they had it was about 7 or 8 moves each. They dodged out of in a row. Beautiful sequence. Yeah. How hard is it to put together a sequence like that?
It depends on how good your partner is.
Fair enough.
It's true. It's all about the person you work with and the chemistry. Because sometimes you have this, like, sometimes you can work with someone and it's like your brains are linked, you know, telepathically, and you can sort of sense where their bodies are going to go and where their weight is going to go. And you don't even have to plan it. And with other people, it's like, what the hell is going on right now? Yeah. So to me, it's all about your partner.
So what you're saying is these two guys have chemistry. Is what that was. Yeah. Both very well. I mean, obviously we know Jeff Hardy's talented. Damien Priest is a talented dude as well. They just went out there and did a fantastic sequence because they're both great. But Sheamus, who is also great, was ringside for commentary after Damien Priest picked up the inevitable victory over Jeff Hardy with the Reckoning. Sheamus immediately jumps in the ring and starts stomping the crap out of him. Goes around with his stupid coat, flashing the audience.
I learned something.
What did you learn today?
I learned that if I can't see Sheamus's mouth when he's talking, I cannot understand a word he is saying. He was over there on commentary, and I'm like, did he just say something about potatoes? What is going? Like, I couldn't understand. I need to see the man's mouth to understand what he is saying. The accent is so thick, and I have met Sheamus. He's a wonderful man. Love him. Did a commercial with him for Cricket Wireless. Like, I have never had a problem understanding him speak until
he put on
off camera.
Was it the broken nose? Was it the broken nose that's throwing you off? Or is he just trying to, this has been my thing. I feel like he's making the accent more pronounced.
He might be.
Recently, like he's just gone all in on making the accent. Like he's given up.
There's a lot of me's in there.
Yeah.
Me title.
Whole lot of me title. He's gotten a lot more like leprechaunish ever since he's become the U.S. champ and lost it. Yeah. And maybe that's on purpose. I don't know, but it is a lot of fun. And he has been great the last few years. It looks like he's going to be coming back for Damien Priest unless the draft does something. And this is another case like we're going to talk about more in a second here, where I feel like they're just letting feuds kind of trickle on until we get to the draft, and then they might get split up, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I'm not mad at it. Damien Priest and Sheamus, I feel, also have a lot of chemistry.
Oh yeah,
so, not mad at that. Yeah, but that is. I'm now going to be listening more closely to Sheamus.
Okay,
I can understand him.
My challenge for everybody. Next time Sheamus comes on the screen, close your eye. Do this. And you can still understand everything the man is saying. Okay, that's my challenge to you. Report back. Let me know how it goes.
Okay.
Is it just me? Is it just my problem?
I might be. I can get him just fine. But that being said, I'm also somewhat used to him.
You're part Scottish. You're used to thick accents.
I'm used to thick accents. That's very true. I'm very used to thick accents. Nikki ASH has a match with Tamina after starting a scuffle backstage. Apparently, Ria Ripley was supposed to have a match with Natalya. Natalya and Tamina roll up to Ria and Nikki, who are talking about their new tag team and having a celebration, being an odd couple, and that kind of sort of working. And Nikki picks a fight.
I kind of do.
The Ria and Nikki thing?
Yeah. Like, I want to not like it, but it is so endearing to me.
It's so endearing. And the way, you speaking of chemistry, they do have chemistry together. Like, just Ria's kind of world weariness around her. It's no RK Bro, but it's pretty fun. It is definitely cute and endearing, as you said. Nikki picked a fight with Tamina. Brawl starts, and Sonya has to come in and break it up. Breaks everyone up and says, fine, if you're going to brawl, you two have a match as well. And we have Nikki ASH versus Tamina, which I'm going to defer to the professional wrestler of the two of us as someone who's taken a bump, but that's about it. Was this match ugly, or was it just me?
It was not the smoothest, not the cleanest. It was not the better of the two matches. I will say that.
No. And again, we have someone who's larger and someone who's on the smaller size in terms of stature. And Nikki ASH, did you feel like the offense worked here from Nikki on Tamina?
More so than with Alexa and Charlotte by far. But it wasn't great.
Is that because of Tamina's selling or because of Nikki, do you think?
I personally am not the biggest fan of Tamina. I don't think that she's the greatest wrestler or seller.
There was a botch on the finish too. We had a tornado DDT was it tornado DDT? Let me check my notes here real quick. What exactly was the strange finish to this?
Went wrong.
It was a tornado DDT. Comes down, Nikki goes to pin Tamina. 1, 2, kick out, 3. Tamina kicks out. The ref calls the match. The bell rings, and Tamina's music plays, and they announce Tamina wins the match. What? It was obviously some sort of botch.
WWE.
What are you guys doing? So strange. It felt like Tamina was supposed to kick out there. There was supposed to be another finish. Tamina was supposed to win this match because coming up after this, you had Ria Ripley versus Natalya. And in that, it was a long match where we had interference from both Tamina and Nikki. And ultimately, Ria picks up the win and taps out Natalya, which was, as you said, a much better match. But at the same time, because usually the booking is, you lose one, you win one.
Right.
And so, of course, they were going to have Nikki lose to Tamina. It's what it felt like. That was the pre-planned thing, and they just didn't pick up on what had actually happened. The ref screwed up. Someone screwed up somewhere.
Yeah.
Someone screwed up somewhere. That being said, I'm glad Nikki ASH actually won this match because she needs to win to be legitimized. But you can't have Rhea lose because Rhea needs to be protected, or she's going to be protected. Unlike what they're doing to their women's tag team champions, because Natalya and Tamina lose every week. They lost every week to Tegan and Shotzi. I don't know what happened to their tag team championship match, but apparently now Rhea and Nikki are now number one contenders for the tag team championships.
WWE
no idea what's going on.
Logic.
Hashtag WWE Logic.
It doesn't feel like anyone really cares backstage about this feud or where it's going or how it's going.
And that's frustrating. I feel like there is kind of a secondary plan here. Like they might be trying to put the titles on Nikki and Rhea. Like that's the end goal. They're going to try and do that by the draft. But I don't feel like it's planned out well. They're too busy thinking about how do we get our ratings back up? I know we'll strap Big E, and they're not thinking about a couple of titles down the card and saying, why don't we have the consistent feud here? And it's something that Dog Ziggler's been yelling at me about all day.
Oh, yeah.
He's furious about this. So
And
what do you think? What do you think? Are you feeling like the women's tag, anything below the women's main event scene is being kind of underbooked? Is that what your perception of it?
yeah, I mean, I think it's always underbooked. I think we're moving in the right direction, but it's still very clear that, you know, the men are getting more attention, better storylines, you know, better angles. Yeah, I think it's very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just throw in 100 bits and said,
yes.
I'm not sure either of you watched the mid-2000s cartoon, but Nikki and Ria have a big Starfire and Raven energy. I absolutely love it, but my God, they need to get the titles off Tamina and Natty. Also, can we please resolve the Shotzi and Tegan thread?
Agreed. And maybe they have to have Shotzi and Tegan have their match this Friday and lose, and then we can properly move on to Rhea and Nikki. And as he said, you know, strap them and maybe put some more love and energy into their kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
So I'm
ready to see it.
I'm down with it. A few more things on Raw. We had a tag team Atomicos match, 4-on-4, 8-person tag match. AJ Styles and Omos with Extinction of all got people. T-Bar and Mace come into the ring with AJ Styles and Omos. That's a tall team, except for AJ Styles. They faced off against Mansoor, Mustafa Ali. Oh, someone's repping the AJ over there.
I was like, I can't get you guys to see. Never rest, never rest.
Oh, all right. Well, I know who you were rooting for in this match. They faced Mansoor, Mustafa Ali, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods. The New Day showing up on the same show. They actually had a match on the same show. Their boy won the big one. However, they did not win the big one because at the end of this match, oh man, Mustafa Ali kept trying to tag in and he kept getting beaten down, but he finally got a little bit of headway at the end. And then Omos got tagged in by AJ Styles, and it was all over. He grabbed Mustafa by the neck. You had Mansoor jump on his back. You had both members of New Day grab his legs.
Yeah.
And he just hucked them all out of the ring and then just murderized Mustafa Ali with the big old choke bomb.
He was like a flying squirrel. Like just gone.
You know Mansoor. Yeah, Mansoor's one over the top. Like
from the net. He just
the yeets were all over the place.
I was like, oh God.
One hand pins Mustafa Ali to win the match for his team. It's we were just saying before, AJ Styles and Omos might break up. It is a matter of time before that guy is just sent at the main event. It's a matter of time. It's
interesting to watch his career develop and see what they decide to do with him, because he is so specific. He's such he can't be anything other than like a big man, a monster. Yeah.
He's such a classic Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Big guy too, right? Like just so many guys have come along. The difference is Omos has a lot of charisma and a lot, I think, of wherewithal and we've talked about this on this show before, Brooke, but do you see what we're talking about when we talk about him understanding how to play to the crowd, like his facial expressions, and he's got a lot of that charisma that a lot of the other big guys like Giant Gonzalez and Great Khali did not have.
Yeah.
He's got a lot more.
Well, I think in this day and age in general, there's an understanding, with social media and whatnot of ways to reach out to people and be more charismatic, because you see yourself all the time, as a WWE superstar. Not only are you seeing yourself on TV, you're seeing yourself in commercials, you're seeing yourself like on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, on all these things that you have to keep going, and you have to have some sort of charisma to even get to that point anymore. It's like now you can't just be a big man. You have to have other things to succeed to get to the level he's at.
You'd think, but I mean, Vince will push a big guy just because he's big. I think in Omos's case, though, you're right. He does have other ephemerals that a lot of the big guys before don't, and that might be a reaction to the modern era of wrestling.
Yeah, I think things are shifting. Vince is Vince and is always going to be Vince, but there are more gatekeepers now, because it's like, okay, you've got 3 huge guys standing next to each other. Which one can get the crowd to cheer?
Yeah.
You can figure it out now.
I mean, I argue any of those three guys, Mace, T-Bar, or Amos, if given the proper opportunity, could make the crowd cheer. But that's another conversation. What they're doing wrong with Extinction and what they're doing right with Amos. But putting it with AJ Styles, as I'm sure you'll agree, is a great start. But someone you shouldn't put with someone else. Doudrop should not have been put with Eva Marie. Eva Marie, I don't really care. They had a match. Finally, they had their blow-off match for their feud. Doudrop makes quick work of Eva Marie. Takes her out with a flying crossbody, and that's the match. I really have nothing else to say about this. Yay, Doudrop. Boo, Eva Marie. Glad this is over. Hope Doudrop can move on to bigger, better things. What are your thoughts on Eva Marie and Doudrop? Because we haven't heard from you on this show ever, because we haven't seen you on the show in a while. We haven't had you on the show since Eva Marie came back and since Doudrop debuted and became her protege, whatever. What are your thoughts on Eva Marie and Doudrop?
Okay, so something stood out to me about this match that first I want to say that everyone has to start somewhere. Everyone has to have a jumping off point. I fully recognize that. And when you're a wrestler, sometimes that has to be on TV. However, literally every single move that they did in this match, I learned in like week 1 of wrestling school. And I'm not exaggerating or kidding. Like, it was literally like the first week stuff. Like the
most basic, the most basic match spots.
Basic building blocks of move, but they didn't build on the blocks. They just did the foundational level.
Right. Strike, headlock, run the ropes, drop down.
Even the way she did the headlock with like, it's just so, like, I learned this yesterday.
So I have to ask, is Eva Marie the worst women's wrestler you've ever seen?
Listen, that's a bar. That's a bar. I don't know that she's the worst one I've ever seen, but she is definitely like if you hired an Instagram model to be a professional wrestler,
which
kind of what it looks like to me.
Yep.
Moving on.
So bottom line is yes, this match was as rudimentary as it seemed to a layperson like myself.
Yes. Very
rudimentary. Thank God Doudrop, who is actually a very good professional wrestler and has been doing it for years and years and years and has just now gotten to this level. Hopefully she can now go have more bigger opportunities now that she's had this jumping off point, and we can just leave Eva Marie to do photo shoots and make John Laurinaitis all goofy in the background. Great. Drew McIntyre, another moment on the show that's going to make you happy. Drew McIntyre hanging out with the Viking Raiders, and he's apparently still feuding with Jinder Mahal because Jinder and his boys, Veer and Shanky, had a 6-man tag. This was over in 5 minutes. Everyone got the most basic shit in. Drew came in and slaughtered Shanky with a Claymore, and that was the match. It was nothing.
I have to admit, Ian, I was like, 6-man tag match. I got a little time. I'm going to go make a taco.
Was this
the match was over before I could finish making my taco. And I'm not talking about like had to cook the meat, chop up the ingredients. Like, it was already done. I just had to put it all on the tortilla. And it was over before I finished making my taco, and I missed it, and I had to go back and watch it later because that's how short it was. It wasn't even a taco match. Making one taco.
So it's an under taco match, is what you're saying.
Yes, it was under one taco.
It was an under one taco. That's just that is kind of sad.
Yeah,
that's sad. That's why I'm calling for Drew to get drafted. I'm like, what are you doing with him on the show? We're still feuding with Jinder Mahal. I know we're treading water till the draft, but man, we're at the bottom of the barrel here. Karrion Kross cut a little promo backstage, dressed in a suit, saying, I know what you're thinking. And I am going to, you don't really know who you are until you've suffered or you make somebody else suffer. Cryptic, strange, overacted little promo here. I want your opinion on this first there, Brooke, before I give my 50 cents. What did you think about? I know you're not the biggest Karrion Kross fan, but I wanted to know what you thought of this kind of new look at Karrion Kross. It's something a little different than what he's done since he got to WWE.
Very much reminded me of old Aleister Black promos. And yes,
Okay.
soft tacos are better than hard tacos. I see you in the chat. And yes, Taylor also could not understand a word of Sheamus's accent. So thank you. Yeah, it was very staccato, speaking through the teeth.
Right. Yes. I want to pick a fight with the roster. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I'm like, well, just stick you in a closet and you're Aleister Black a few years ago.
Or Sean O'Haire doing the Devil's Advocate 20 years ago. I mean, they're coming back to this. Bray Wyatt, like it's creepy guy cutting a promo. He even used the same thing, and Karrion Kross did say in an interview he was a fan of the Devil's Advocate character that Sean O'Haire did. But why would you be a fan of that character? It was a flop. He went on an undefeated streak, got in a car wreck, and he got kicked out of the WWE. Why would you be a fan of that gimmick? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It hasn't been successful for almost anyone because that gimmick doesn't work unless you always win. And WWE doesn't let people go on consistent winning streaks, not ones that, because at some point you're going to lose. Also, and when you lose, that's all out the window.
Yeah, and it's just a recycled gimmick. Give me something new. Let him put his own spin on it. Well,
that's what I'm worried about, is that his own spin is just going to be over-enunciating and grimacing.
But that's not even his own spin, because that has been done so many times.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm bored.
His personal mannerisms. Yeah. And that paired with his sexy dungeon gladiator outfit is I don't know. I don't think it's a good combination at all either. This did not work for me either. But I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. And finally, Reggie still running from R-Truth and Akira Tozawa with the 24/7 championship. All of the goons still chasing him all over the place. Lots of parkour, lots of fun, typical
parkour
stuff. Parkour. There's got to be a meme for that. Every time they do, they have to have like the Office stuff playing in the back. Parkour.
They should.
Damn, corpsed. But the end of this, Drake Maverick rolls up to R-Truth and Tozawa, and they say, your plan didn't work. And he says, it wasn't my plan. It was the execution. Hands in pockets with a nice suit on. Drake Maverick coming out looking like we're going to go, like he's going to be the 24/7 guru. Like he's the guy who has like the secret to Reggie. So I am curious if they keep that up, because I would love to see Drake Maverick and Reggie have a real, like an actual feud. That would be a little bit of fun. Is this Reggie stuff working for you, Brooke, or are you kind of it's just there? Is it fluff?
It's just there for me personally. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's always fun to see R-Truth,
I know you're an old school R-Truth fan. I do know you're old school.
Naturally, so he has more charisma in his pinky than I think most people have in their entire bodies.
I would agree with that. Anyone who can get a whole crowd to chant along with that dumb song for 20 years, got to have something going on.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Agreed.
But that is it for Raw. We got all the way through it. Thank you very much, Miss Brooke. We only have one more segment today, and then we're going to head on out and go to our mailbag episode. So stay tuned, because right now we've got to do a little something we like to call our moment of positivity. Mop, 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 mop.
Moppity moppity mop.
Mop. That's right, the mop, the moment of positivity. It's right at the time on the show where we have to pick something out. It's just going to be Raw, because we don't really have anything else to talk about. We're going to pick something from Raw that made us happy, that made us smile, that was something that we can share with everybody out there to make them feel happy, make them feel better, and go back out into the world with a smile on their face. Miss Brooke, what was your moment of positivity from Raw?
Well, my number one moment of positivity is getting to be here with you guys and this show, be back in the BWO universe, and definitely Big E winning. That surge of love from the crowd, and New Day coming out to celebrate with him in the in the ring, it's like you can't help but have your heart swell. Yeah. What about you? What's your moment of positivity?
Man, well, you kind of stole mine. Like Big E winning, it's hard not to pick that one, as you say.
Yeah.
Like he's literally one of like Mr. Mop Man Sean Clark is the reason we have the moment of positivity. But the power of positivity comes from the New Day and Big E, and it's hard not to pick that as the moment of positivity, especially because most of the rest of Raw, not gonna lie, was not that great.
It was
it's
cheating. Right episode.
It's cheating for me to also do Big E, I suppose. And it's cheating for me to also to say having you back on our show is always a positive moment for us here on the show. Man, I'm gonna actually have to. I've got one. I'm gonna actually have to say Randy Orton, because man, when that guy is excited about what he's doing, you talk about having charisma. You talk about engaging a crowd. Between the promo on Lashley at the top of the whole thing, where he said, "I didn't politic anything. I just went and talked to people and told them what I had to tell them and got the match."
Yeah,
Randy, that is politic.
I didn't politic. I just talked to the right people about this thing, and I leveraged my decade-long career, and this is what happened. It's not politics.
Right. I didn't politic. I just politicked. Between his promo and then going out and having a superlative match with Bobby Lashley, like I'm loving the fact that, because you told me 7 years ago that Randy Orton was going to be one of my favorite things on Raw, I would have called you crazy.
Yeah,
he's one of my favorite things on Raw.
I was surprised by how much the crowd was cheering for him, specifically in his match against Lashley.
Oh yeah,
they were just all behind Randy.
And I think it's because Randy he's been a legend for a while now, but now he truly is, I think, earning it. For a while there, he still felt like he had some of that brattiness. I don't really care about what I'm doing. Now it feels like he cares. And that's a two-way street. When he cares, we care about him. And he very obviously cares. And as a result, I care about him. And as a result, Randy Orton is my moment of positivity. So there we go. That is our flagship episode done, Miss Brooke. Just hang out for a second, because we are going to shut down here for just a couple minutes, go to the mailbag episode. Don't worry, we will be back. Let's call it 15 after. We'll come back and do the next do the mailbag show. In the meantime, of course, everyone, please head over to linktree.com/BWO for all of the links to everything: the Discord, the Facebook discussion group, Patreon, etc., etc. I think that's usually what Nick does. I don't really know. We just get the business out of the way. Is there anything that you want to promote before we get out of here, Miss Brooke? No. Any social media or anything you want to throw out there? Or
I just want to say thank you guys again. If you want to, check out my Instagram. It's brooke.e.winters on the IG. And we'll see you guys in a few minutes in the mailbag episode. Can't wait to answer your questions.
Sounds good. And with that, I am Sir Ian Dangerous.
And I am Brooke Winters.
But by God!
Would somebody stop the damn match?